We're going to do an end of summer update on the new for 2025 Proven Winner Annuals. Hi, I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings, and it is the end of August, and we're going to be walking through this landscape bed and just showing you how some of these new annuals have performed throughout the heat of the summer here in West Michigan. And some of them, and actually a lot of them, have done absolutely fabulous, and we're really excited to tell you about some of what our favorite new additions are that will be coming up for next year. So let's go ahead, take a walk through the bed, and check out these new 2025 Proven Winner Annuals. So when we planted these new annuals, we planted them in several different places throughout this garden bed. This is facing the south. It's up against a hot parking lot, and it does get watered regularly. So just to kind of give you a little context as to what we're doing with these annuals. Now, let's just say this area of the bed didn't do good for some reason. I don't want my plants all in one spot. So that's why we kind of stagger them throughout, just so we can get different ideas of how they're doing in different areas. So first off, we've got this new Dahlia. It's part of the Virtuosa series. So it's a new series from Proven Winners. It's Virtuosa Pinkerific. So we'll see this several times as we walk through this garden bed. But these here, they're about 24, maybe 30 inches tall, nice large flowers, kind of a bicolor, tricolor look to them, very large blooms, and these have continued to bloom all summer long. We do come through and deadhead to keep them clean looking on occasion, and that helps also promote additional blooms. Here we have the Virtuosa. This is the vibrant purple, I believe. Let me cross-check that. Vibrant violet, Virtuosa vibrant violet. And very beautiful deep purple coloration. Again, big blooms. The habit of this plant is an upright mounding habit that stands about 24 inches tall. And the one thing that stands out with this is these blooms. They are a really, really large bloom. So very pretty, clean looking plant. So really happy with how this is doing. And you can see that Monarch Caterpillar is enjoying them as well. It's probably off looking for a place to turn into a chrysalis. Another plant that has been really good, and I didn't know what I was going to think about it, is the Salvia Unplugged White. So being a white flower, I wasn't sure if it was going to stay clean all summer long or if it was going to get kind of that brown look going on. But as you can see, the Salvia Unplugged White has done fabulous all summer long. We have not done any deadheading on this plant. So this is what you see is what you get. This is what it has done all summer long. The flowers have stayed clean. It's a nice upright habit, upright flower. And another thing I kind of questioned was, were the hummingbirds going to love the white? Because typically you think of your reds, your pinks, your purples, but we have seen hummingbirds on the white as well. So that was kind of a pleasant surprise for me. The habit's done really well. These are about 30 inches tall, and I would say they're going to get about 24 to 30 inches wide in the landscape as well. Now, if you're planting up containers, this would be an excellent upright thriller in a container combination. Continuing on, we have some new Scaevolas, and these are part of the Star Diva series. So we have Star Diva Pink and Star Diva Purple, which I'll show you in just a moment. So the Scaevolas here, they are a drought-tolerant, full sun-loving plant. How do I think they did? I love the flower. I love the flower form. I wasn't sure what the habit of these was going to be. Our other Scaevolas we have are very kind of sprawling and spreading when we put them in a hanging basket or in the ground, where these have stayed a little bit more compact and dense, haven't gotten near as large as what I thought they may get. So kind of a nice plant, perhaps for like a front of a border. But the flowers have done good. The plants have held up all summer, so I'm pleased about that. In the back there is the Angelonia Angel Face White. This is an improved version of the old Angel Face White. What I'm noticing with this is it has a much, much better habit and a lot better vigor as well. So these plants are about 20 inches tall or so, 20 inches wide. Nice big flowers, lots of branching going on, and lots of flowers. So this would be a great plant for containers if you like to plant up containers, another great thriller. Or as you can see in the landscape here, they would just create a nice little pop of color here and there. Again, another white that stays very clean looking. No deadheading has been done on here. So I've been very happy with the vigor and the habit of this improved version of the Angelonia Angel Face White. Making our way down, we have a new Supertunia. We have the Supertunia Tiara Blue. Tiara Blue is fantastic. It's got that nice bicolor bloom, bright purple with that white eye. It's done excellent here in the landscape as well as in our container trials that I've done at home. One thing I will mention is that the Tiara Blue is less vigorous than the Tiara Pink, which we'll see in a moment. But both of them are excellent new kind of, I'm going to say not flower form, but like a flower pattern, flower color that we've been really impressed with. You'll see underneath the Star Diva Blue, which is the Scaevola that matches the Star Diva Pink. And again, not a huge plant, just kind of a nice small plant. The flowers are a full circle. They're called a fan flower. So typically a fan flower would just be kind of like a half circle, like a fan, where the Star Divas create a full star-shaped pattern with the flowers. So nice big flowers and vibrant coloration. We have the Unplugged Red Salvia. At first, when we first planted the Unplugged Red, I didn't really love it. I didn't love the habit of it. It just felt kind of not much. But as the summer's gone on and as it's gotten warmer, check this out. This Unplugged Red has done fabulous. These plants are about 36 inches tall. The flowers are very large on very long flower spikes, where earlier in the season, I didn't feel like I got a lot of flower off of them. But now that it's warmed up and the summer's gone on, the flower spikes have gotten much bigger with a lot more flowers on them. So really nice and a very, very large plant as well. Here's another Virtuosa Pinkerific that we saw earlier. Again, it's doing fabulous. The Coleus, this is part of the MiniMe series. This is the MiniMe Chartreuse. MiniMe Chartreuse is known for its chartreuse foliage. These Coleus they're monsters. So very fine foliage, small foliage, but the dense habit of these plants, they get huge. One plant is about 24 inches tall. I feel like there's a theme. A lot of these plants are 24 inches tall, but just very dense habit. So I have these in a container at home, and I don't think, for me, a container is the right placement for it. I think the landscape is a much better placement for it because the landscape allows it to get big and full like it wants to do. We've got the Supertunia Tiara Pink, and you can see these beautiful, bold, magenta, bright, hot pink flowers with that nice white center. This plant is a very aggressive grower, and in planters, I have mine at home in a planter, and it is trailed up to 36 inches long. So it's definitely a great plant for trailing. I do have it paired with the Tiara Blue, and they both are holding their own, but the Tiara Pink is definitely starting to take over, and there's a lot more presence of the pink in that container. But I would have to say this is in the top 5. This would be one of my top 5 new annuals for 2025. We've got another one of the Salvia Unplugged White, and you can see it's doing fabulous. Another ColorBlaze Coleus, the MiniMe Chartreuse. And again, you can see dense habit, big plant, very vibrant, really stands out and helps breaks up some of that green foliage in the landscape. We're going to start getting a little bit repeat on our plants, but there are still some new ones we'll be coming across as well. So hold on, and we'll be showing you the new ones in a moment. More of the Salvia Unplugged White with the Tiara Pink and the Tiara Purple. So this is nice to see Tiara Pink and Purple right next to each other. Although in the landscape they look like they have similar habits, in a container you will definitely find that they do not. Huge display here of the unplugged white salvia, which I think is really pretty, especially with the Tiara blue or the Tiara pink. So if you're thinking of creating a container combination, this white really helps draw out the white eye here on the two petunias and would be a really beautiful container combination. It's more of the Salvia red and the Virtuosa dahlias. Here's another one I love. So this is a new Angelonia. This is called Wedgewood Pink, and this too is in my top 5 that I love for new proven winter annuals for 2025. You may have heard of Wedgewood Blue before, which is a soft blue and white, and here we have Wedgewood Pink, which is a soft pink and white. A nice upright thriller in the landscape as well as in combinations. And you know, there's something about the color of this flower that is just absolutely amazing to me. There's a lot of Angelonia out there, but I think it's the two-tone and the colors just blend and go so well together. And this plant has excellent vigor. You can see it's got a nice height to it. And by vigor, what I mean by that is lots of flowers, lots of branching. And the more branching you have, that results in more flowers. So that definitely is right up there in a must-have for 2025. Here's another planting of it. And you can see really pretty. Actually even paired with that Star Diva Scaevola underneath. Kind of a neat look. That would definitely be something I would do in the landscape, not in a container, because they wouldn't probably play well together in a container. But in the landscape, they look really great together. More of that unplugged white. You can see, I mean, every time we're looking at that, it is just gorgeous. There is some Nemesia Bluebird, which Nemesia Bluebird has been improved. And typically Nemesia Bluebird, that's the purple one here, that would be an annual that, especially in the heat of the summer, would really kind of start to peter out and just not do much. And typically Nemesia don't love the heat. But as you can see here, this one has done well throughout the summer and is still blooming quite profusely and looks really nice. Paired with the new and improved Bermuda Beach Supertunia. That actually is a pretty great pairing of the 3 plants together. You've got the pink, the purple, and the white. A nice look to consider if you want to plant up a combination. We're going to make our way around, but before we do, we have the Aromacis Mag Heliotrope. Beautiful, deep, dark purple blooms, fragrant. And the thing with heliotrope that I like here is that these have really large clusters of flowers. A lot of times heliotrope will be more of a smaller kind of, I'm gonna say spray, but that's not the right word. But usually kind of more just smaller flowers, where this almost has the big broccoli head cluster, and it's such a deep, dark purple. The butterflies love the heliotrope. Again, more of that MiniMe chartreuse, Coleus, just doing fabulous. Here's a pretty good specimen of the Scaevola Star Diva. So this one isn't really fighting the crowd. It's kind of a little bit more open and airy by itself, not having to fight for light or anything. And that looks really nice. But this, I would say, is a pretty good indicator of what the habit of that plant is going to look like in a landscape or even in a container. So personally, I think landscape is a better placement for this plant over a container. Let's make our way around, and I think there's a few more fun things to look at. To give you just another view of some of these new annuals for 2025, we're going to just take a stroll through this bed, go in close, take a look at a few of them, just so you can see them in a different planting area. So here's a better example of the heliotrope up close without it being crowded in the landscape. It gives you a good idea of the size of the plant. Nice kind of an upright, mounded type habit. You can see the flowers, the large flower heads are just really covering that deep dark foliage, which I think is just a beautiful. It almost feels like a perennial in a sense because of the size of it and just how it fills in, even though it's an annual. So it's going to give you color from early season through the end of the season. That can get up to 30 inches tall if you are in the south where you're going to have a longer season. Here in our landscape, it's about 18 to 24 inches tall. But I think that just is a really good visual of just the beauty that plant has here in the landscape. And then another one I wanted to give kind of a little bit better fair show to is the Nemesia bluebird. Here you can see it in the landscape. And like I mentioned, the Nemesia does not like the heat typically. It'll just kind of fizzle and fade once the summer heat comes into action. But you can see this bluebird is really in full bloom right now. Nice massive color. The plant we're looking at, that's a grouping of 2 plants. So to give you kind of size perspective as to what a plant can do. So yeah, I'm impressed, and it is definitely giving us a nice show of color late in the season. The new Proven Winners 2025 annuals will be available for pre-order in December. Garden Crossings is a mail order company. We ship plants all over the United States, or you can shop here locally at our retail store in Zeeland, Michigan. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings.